The Tonight Show with Jay Leno.
It's called right. I'm gonna need you niggas to pay attention because I'm not rapping to you.
My name is Patrick Smith. I am the current head audio mixer for The Tonight Show.
My name is Bob Say. I'm the owner of Freak Beat Records here in Sherman Oaks, California. When I first started selling on eBay, I needed a name to sell under, and recently a couple of my friends have been talking a lot about freak beat music, which is a style of English. It was the name given to the English sound of the soul, the beat music that everybody had grown up with in England as it progressed into a psychedelic sound.
My name is Daryl Swan. I've been a record producer, engineer, drum programmer, guitar player, songwriter, mixer, master engineer for the last 25 years.
Did you buy a lot of vinyl records when you were younger?
Yes, that's all we had, you know, because when I discovered music, it was in the late 70s and the early 80s, so that was the most popular format.
It's kind of like Christmas, you know, you get a new toy, you're like, you put your old toys away, you're like, oh, this is a cool toy, and after a couple weeks, you're like, wait, I like this old toy too. So vinyl is that old toy that we're kind of like saying, wait, this is really cool. Look at this cover. Look at this piece of plastic. Look at the words on it. I can read stuff. There's pictures.
Vinyl's not anything new to me. I've sold it all my life. That's what I've always dealt with.
I like to buy old records from the Blue Note collection, early Columbia records.
I see myself buying all types of records. Reissues, vintage records. I love it all. It's like wine. It's like there's new blends, there's vintage blends. So I love it all. I love it all.
Many of my friends buy records. My brother is very avidly in the vinyl game.
You know, a lot of people go to a place like Amoeba, and it's like you can go buy a record for $2 or $3, a classic record for $2 or $3.
Vinyl to people like myself is kind of like the gold nuggets were to the Indians when the settlers came. The settlers hit America, and the Indians were like kicking gold rocks out the way. The settlers were like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "Oh, all these rocks are in the way." They were like, "Oh my God!"
I really like to go to Amoeba when I can, but it's so far away. Just because, one, they have a lot of vinyl records and everything else, and it's specifically all music and really cool there.
Vinyl is getting more and more popular.
So there was a time when vinyl was being eliminated mostly by the record companies.
Well, vinyl never really died. You know, like when it's like when the standard DVD came out, or when VHS came out, or Betamax came out. When new formats came out, it basically killed off the previous format. But analog always kept going.
You know, popularity primarily, you know, due to the record companies and the manufacturers. The manufacturers with the Panasonics and Toshibas and all the electronics giants started making CD devices, CD playback devices. And the record companies were like, wow, it costs, what, $1 or $2 to actually manufacture a piece of vinyl, where it only costs us, what, maybe 10 cents to manufacture a CD. So the cost of manufacturing for a record company, you know, fell exponentially.
I mean, I went out and bought like everything I could find. Everything that came out, I bought it on CD. You know, it's just like I remember Tower Records opening up in Boston, right down the street from Berkeley, and we went, me and the producer Delphine Marcellus, and we went and we must have spent $300 each on CDs.
Think about it. If you release a new way to deliver content, record companies were like, wow, we've sold 70 years of vinyl. Now, if we come up with this new format, CD, we can re-release that entire back catalog, our entire back catalogs, from the Sinatras to the Muddy Waters to everything we've had for the last 70 years, we can re-release it on CD and sell that whole catalog over again, which is what happened, you know, in the 80s and 90s, which caused such a boom time in the music industry.
Its popularity is also lending itself to other companies emerging and also going back and getting these masters and reissuing these records.
There's a lot of people, say they're born in, 1995, they've never really experienced buying records or even CDs hardly. And if they were brought up, say, by the time they're 12 years old, that you're talking 2007, they might have only known downloading music. So by the time they get into high school, which might put us 2012, you're talking about something they really have had no experience with. And I think when they come in, or anybody comes in who's never bought records, and they see the cover is bigger, there's a lot more visually going on, all of a sudden the music isn't just stuff from the ether that they download. All of a sudden it has a, you know, a physical presence that they've never known before. I think it's kind of funny that in the early 90s the record companies thought it was dead.
I remember growing up, you always remember certain album covers, like the Ohio Players, Marvin Gaye, old Motown stuff, a lot of the Blue Note stuff. All that's like classic art, you know. And you had like a lot of artists that actually, like Kelsey Grammer, I think, used to design album covers, and Andy Warhol did album covers, and a lot of great artists did these album covers. So it's like they put a lot into it.
It's not just getting something that you can listen to music, it's having something that you have this thing that you can listen to music off of, but you also have it as a piece of memorabilia to maybe a show that you went to.
It's like having a fine wine, or really like one-of-a-kind cigar or something. It's a piece of history stored in the most pristine way.
When you buy a record, it's more like, and you take it home, it's more like an event. First of all, you have a larger package. The liner notes are larger and clearer, easier to read. It's a process of opening up a record and placing it on a turntable.
I think the white noise, so why does this white noise that sits underneath the music sound good to us? We should, you know, technically we should be like, wow, it's got noise under there, that sounds worse. But, well, I like the analogy of, you know, cheese between two burgers. You know, cheese is really not the best thing for you. When you put them between two burgers, it just glues the burgers together. It's so good. It's so bad for you, but it's so good. And that's kind of like what the white noise does with sound. It kind of connects the dots between the kicks and the snares, connects the dots between the instruments, and kind of connects all the dots. So I think vinyl is kind of like cheese for your ears.
The philosophy behind MP3 is to take away most of the data, all the so-called unuseful data, so it makes the file sizes smaller, so you can put them on, like, for instance, a thumb drive or a very tiny postage-sized stamp playback device. But it takes away so much from the sound, you're left with basically garbage. So if you want to stay in the medium that gives you the most of the original signal.
It's not like all digitized and perfect. There's a certain grainy quality to it that you don't hear in every digital copy you get.
It's never going to be for everybody. It's always going to be, you know, a small, very small portion of the music business, but it definitely makes an impression on people who have a visual eye, I guess you could say.
Las Vegas and now dog all shook up. Heartbreak Hotel, Lordy, Miss Cloudy, Blue Moon.